Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Dragon. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our Unbox and Explore series. And today we're going to be digging into the Hermetic Tarot by Godfrey Dowson. And I'm really excited to be digging into this deck. This is a really interesting and rather mysterious deck. And I know we're going to have a lot of fun poking into it. So let me pull this up so you guys can take a look here at this beautiful, beautiful deck. The Hermetic deck, which we're going to be unpacking and taking a look at. Now, this deck was originally produced between 1975 and 1977 by this really elusive artist, Godfrey Dowson. When I've been digging online trying to find information about him, there's very, very, very little that I can find. He was a British artist who lived in Wales, and he worked as a commercial freelance artist, doing a lot of work within the video game industry. But he was also known for doing fantasy illustration and doing, of course, a dedicated tarot deck. And this particular tarot deck is really important in the history of tarot because it comes out in 1978, 1979, and it is the second release deck that uses the Golden Dawn system. And this is coming out right after the Book of Tea is finally published and made fully public in its collab. Dr. Israel Regardie, as well as a couple other collaborators, took the Book of Tea, which is all of the tarot and aspects of the Golden Dawn teachings, assembled it into a book and published it in 1976. And then following that, we get Robert Wang's The Golden Dawn Tarot, which is the most, widely known Golden Dawn Tarot and the first Golden Dawn Tarot, and actually received that deck as well. And we will be unpacking that. I didn't realize the order at first, but digging into the history has been really, really fun and interesting to check all this out, So this is actually our second oldest Golden Dawn Tarot deck. And that's because originally the Golden Dawn work was hidden within the echelons of the secret society, kept secret by Mathers and Company. It was published at one point by Crowley in his Equinox, but then he got cease and desist orders, and there was a lot of infighting, and there was not another official publication of the work until Israel Regardie came along and published the Book of Tea. So this particular tarot comes right after that publication in 1979. So really, really influential in the tarot world, really influential in the magical world. One thing that's cool about this too is that it was published by US Game Systems and Stuart Kaplan. So US Game Systems is the largest publisher of cards in the world. Stuart Kaplan is a tarot historian and tarot creator, and he had, before he passed away in 2021, the world's largest collection of tarot cards, world's largest collection of playing cards, period. It's rather unfortunate, but a lot of his collection has been sold off after, following his death, but he still owns this particular deck, and his company, US Game Systems, republished this in 2006 with an introduction by him that we're going to be going through and reading over today. So one thing I wanted to show you guys before we dig into the deck proper was just this article I did manage to find from this game magazine in England that talks about our elusive artist here, Godfrey Dowson. So I'm going to pull this up on the stage, and we're going to take a look at this article I was able to find. So this is from Crash magazine, and this is an online sort of repository of that magazine. And this was their on the cover issue. Our last two on the cover artists have largely worked with space and violent action for their cassette covers. Godfrey Dowson, the man behind Level 9's posters and covers, is different in style and temperament. Like Steiner Lund, he has also done a commission for the old Imagine. But unlike Steiner, Godfrey was a little less lucky. Colossal Adventure Level 9. So this is one of his illustrations he did back in the early 80s. Oh dear, another innocent party who suffered from the demise of Imagine comes into our office. Will it never end? Godfrey Dowson started his software illustrating career with a painting called Mega Vault, which was commissioned by Imagine, never used and never paid for. The pump. A self taught artist who used to be an engineer working with gas turbines in Lincoln, of all things, Godfrey moved to Wales in 1976 and spent a few years in a cottage overlooking a lake, completing his portfolio. Then he launched himself into the world as a freelance illustrator and followed his interest in fantasy and knowledge of magic by completely redesigning a deck of tarot cards. Work for the Aquarian Press followed, and then Garanada Books commissioned some of his work. Fortunately, he wasn't put off working for the software industry by his experience with Imagine and began work for Pete Austin of Level 9, starting with artwork for Red Moon. Godfrey now has completed around 10 titles for Level 9 and has almost become their in-house freelance. Working in ink and gouache, using airbrush and then overpainting with a brush, Godfrey spends 3 or 4 weeks working on a painting after producing a rough in a couple of days from his client's original brief. He takes pleasure in researching his pictures, visiting an aircraft museum to sketch a B-52, for instance, which then appeared on a seabed in one of his illustrations. Godfrey's first love is fantasy, and his career began with science fiction and magic illustrations. He enjoys placing objects in unusual settings. A grandfather clock appears in a primeval swamp in his artwork for Level 9's Lord of Time, for instance. This year, 3 specialist computer books have been published with intricate geometrical pieces painted by Godfrey on the covers. His work also included some romantic illustrations for a Swedish publishing house and work for a book published in Germany, which is used as a textbook for teaching English. Godfrey lives in an Elizabethan manor house on the Welsh border with his wife and bevy of cats, making occasional excursions to London to see art directors, agents, and other people essential to the freelance illustrator, and generally catching up on the developments in the illustrating world. He is grateful to be able to return to the peace and quiet of his home to work after all these forays, however. The high point of my career so far, Godfrey told us, came when one of my illustrations was selected by judges of Benson and Hedges Gold Awards. My picture on the theme of time was one of the 50 illustrations chosen from some 600 submissions and is now part of a touring exhibition. Not surprisingly, Godfrey smokes B&H. I don't like too much of the same kind of work, he says. I like to be able to chop and change a bit. Godfrey had better keep on his work for Level 9 or he'll be in trouble with team behind Zap 64, our other organ. Anyway, here's a cool picture here at the bottom of Godfrey in his next to a Welsh castle. Just wild, right? I managed to find one other picture of Godfrey, which I'll show you guys here. So this is Godfrey in his Golden Dawn regalia. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get. Let me try to make that bigger. I wasn't able to find a better image here. Let me try to zoom in a bit. Yeah, there we go. But you can see here him in his Golden Dawn regalia. Unfortunately, these are the only pictures I could find and the only article I could find on the man himself. So that's all the information I got about Godfrey. Apparently, this particular deck was created over the period of 2 years of intense study in this Welsh castle or cottage that he lived in. So really interesting character, really interesting deck, really important part of early tarot history, at least commercial history, in its modern turn with the Hermetic, Thelemic influence and the Golden Dawn influence especially. So let's start opening this up. The Hermetic Tarot by Godfrey Dowson. All right. So first off, pretty standard size, really cool black and white illustration. And as I understand, all of the cards are going to be these black and white pen and ink illustrative drawings. So let's try to open this up here. All right. Okay. Oh, cool. Look at the back. Interesting. It's hard to make out there a bit because of glare. There we go. See if I can get some of that. Right. Anyway, here we go. Interesting. And then their main cover there, the Hermetic Tarot. Awesome. Awesome. All right, let's pop this open and we'll take a look what we got inside. Okay. Interesting. Look at this interesting sigil right off the top. Wow, very Rosicrucian. Really reminds me of the rose cross that we see with Crowley, except that it's related to this star, right? Amazing. This wow. The six-pointed star. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So much wild esoteric imagery right off the top. Right off the top. Okay. All right, so we're just going to, before we dig into this card deck any further and start checking out the art, let's go to the booklet. So one of the things with this particular iteration of the deck is it has one of these, what do you call them? But you have one of these QR codes. Sorry, you have a QR code. Let me try to get this to focus again. There's a QR code on the back that'll send you a copy of this book, which we're going to pull up here. Okay, so let me just get this going. So this beautiful book here, I already got it at the introduction, but it is a 73-page book, and it's the Hermetic Tarot, and we can see a lot of Godfrey's illustrations in fine detail, which is beautiful. Here we get another example of the rose cross and some more esoteric symbolism, right? All of the elemental tools of the Magus. Powerful, powerful stuff, right? So here we have a elemental and astrological symbol guide. Cool. And then we get into the introduction. So this is the introduction by Stuart Kaplan. And as I said, Stuart Kaplan is the owner, founder of US Game Systems, tarot historian, and the largest card collector in the world, and the original publisher of this deck. All right, so let's see here. The unique talent of Godfrey Dowson. Excuse me, I'm just going to get a drink of water first. Is revealed in the Hermetic Tarot deck. US Game Systems is proud to reissue this deck in recognition of its historical and artistic importance. The details and symbols in each card reveal many of the esoteric workings of the secret order of the Golden Dawn that flourished around the turn of the century. Founded in 1888 as a secret magical fraternity, the order counted among its members some of the foremost occultists and writers of the period, including MacGregor Mathers, Arthur Edward Waite, Dion Fortune, Paul Foster Case, Aleister Crowley, and W.B. Yeats. After cessation of the order's activities, some 15 years after its inception, Waite, Case, and Crowley went on to issue their own decks, the Rider-Waite, the BOTA, and Thoth Tarot decks, respectively. Crowley first published a description of the order's card designs in the Equinox in 1912. Prior to World War II, Israel Regardie included a description of the cards in his 4-volume set, The Golden Dawn. Crowley's deck was not published during his lifetime. He worked with Lady Freda Harris, the artist, for 5 years, from 1938 to 1943, before the deck was completed. But it was not actually published until 1969, 22 years after Crowley's death. The early members of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn were encouraged to prepare personal tarot packs for their own use based upon Mather's deck and his work. The society set down certain instructions for its members to follow, but these instructions were abbreviated at best. Not surprisingly, As time went on and new members copied decks based upon previously drawn cards, the variances and modifications grew more and more pronounced. Since Mather's original tarot deck has not been handed down, today's researchers of the Order of the Golden Dawn, whose numbers grow and flourish in Europe and the USA, often assign personal interpretations and modifications to their own version of the tarot as it might have existed in the order more than 80 years ago. In 1978, Robert Wang, in collaboration with Dr. Israel Regardie, prepared the Golden Dawn Tarot deck, which has taken its place among important esoteric packs of the 20th century. The Hermetic Tarot deck by Godfrey Dowson draws heavily upon the work of Mathers, Crowley, Case, G.H., Soror, Q.L., and Alpheus Levi. A slightly different description of the cards is found in the book T, the Tarot by Mathers and others. Crowley included the book T in 1912 in his Equinox, Volume 1, Number 8. The public disclosure caused considerable friction between Crowley and Mathers and eventually led to an unsuccessful lawsuit by Mathers to prevent further publication. In 1967, a limited edition of 200 copies of the book T appeared in Great Britain, and it was reproduced again in 1978 by Robert Wang in An Introduction to the Golden Dawn Tarot. Godfrey Dowson's cards in the Hermetic Tarot reveal a combination of detail and symbolism that capture the mood and sense of each pictorial image. Subtle variations exist in almost every card. For example, fingertips touch the stem of a rose bush in the Eight of Pentacles, Lord of Prudence, in contrast to the firm grasp of a hand in the Four of Pentacles, the Lord of Earthly Power. The mangled sword in the Nine of Swords, Lord of Despair and Cruelty, and the roses in full bloom in the Six of Pentacles, Lord of Material Success, illustrate how skillfully the artist has created the cards. Repeated study of each card often reveals for the first time a new dimension and scope not seen in a previous reading. One of the most important features of Dowson's Hermetic Tarot is his emphasis on the Golden Dawn astrological attributions of the cards. Working prior to the turn of the century and drawing on a great deal of published information, library manuscripts, secret documents, and extensive personal research, Mathers assigned a complete set of correspondences between the tarot and the zodiac. Dowson has also provided clear symbols in his card designs which help the student correlate these astrological correspondences each time he or she reads the cards. Crowley, of course, does the same in his deck, but the symbols are frequently less clear than portrayed here. A knowledge of astrology can greatly aid in the interpretation of the tarot, and vice versa. Excuse me. It was the genius of the Golden Dawn to synthesize these systems. Godfrey Dowson successfully creates in the Hermetic Tarot a compelling, reconstructed version of the tarot that has taken its place as one of the most important esoteric tarot decks published during the 20th century. The Hermetic Tarot deck is collated in the following sequence: the Hierophant, 5, 0, the Foolish Man, 1, the Magician, through 4, the Emperor, 6, the Lovers, through 21, Universe. King or Knight, Queen, King, and Princes in the suit of Wands, followed by Court cards in the suit of Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. 8 through 10 in Wands, followed by Cup, Swords, and Pentacles. Readers and students of tarot may prefer to maintain the minor arcana spreads from the Hermetic Tarot deck in the sequence of cards as described in Book T. This sequence is based on an extremely complex astronomical and Kabbalistic correspondence system, which forms the basis of the astrological attributions. Briefly, the aces rule the 4 quadrants of the North Pole of the universe, and Kether on the Tree of Life. The knights, queens, and kings are broadly attributed to the zodiacal signs. Each of these court cards represents 3 deacons. 1 deacon equals 10 degrees of the zodiac, hence 30 degrees. The princesses form the link between the elemental energy of the aces and the celestial zodiacal energies of the other court cards. Then the tarot follows the further astrological division into individual decans by assigning one numbered card, 2 to 10, to one decan, as there are 36 decans and 36 numbered cards, excluding the aces. This fits rather neatly. The true astrological year was begun by the golden dawn with the star Regulus at 0 degree Leo, rather than the more common 0 degree Aries. Thus, the Five of Wands, 0 to 10 Leo, is the first pip card described in the book T, and the Four of Cups, 20 to 30 degrees Cancer, is the last. The trumps then followed the pip cards. Refer to Book 4 of Israel Regardie's Golden Dawn for a more complete explanation of his subject. The sequence thus given in Book T is as follows: Ace of Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles, 5 to 7 of Wands, 8 to 10 of Pentacles, 2 to 4 of Swords, 5 to 7 of Cups, 8 to 10 of Wands, 2 to 4 of Pentacles, 5 to 7 of Swords, 8 to 10 of Cups, 2 to 4 of Wands, 5 to 7 of Pentacles, 8 to 10 of Swords, 2 to 4 of Cups, 0. The Foolish Man, and 1. The Magician, through 21. The Universe. The back design of the Hermetic Tarot deck is a rose in full bloom. Each card contains the sigil, the mark of a master craftsman. All the work by Godfrey Dowson bears this mark. The original artwork for the Hermetic Tarot was executed between 1975 to 1977 by the artist and is now included in the Stuart and Marilyn Kaplan playing card collection. Amazing, amazing. So that gives us our brief introduction there of this particular deck and all of sort of Kaplan's, ideas behind the deck. So really, really fun stuff. Really fun stuff. They get into a lot more of the deeper ideas that they have here within the deck, especially in regards to the astrological signs. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to read through the major arcana and see what this book has to tell us about the major arcana. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to look at all of the cards, but for each of the major arcana cards, we're going to read and take a look what the book has to tell us here. So, first, let's pull up our camera, and we're just going to take a look at the first card here. And let me get, so our first card we're going to have is Death. Oh, wow, Death. How intense. How intense. Wow. Wild energy. Beautiful stuff. Let me see if I can get even closer here. Wow. Death. The 13, Scorpio. Such wild, wild imagery in this particular tarot. Let's see. Or is that too out of focus? That's probably as good as I'm going to get here. Death. Really powerful stuff. Take a look. And let's take a look here and see what Dowson has to tell us about death. So let me just pull up this. We'll hop over to our major arcana, and we're going to look and see what they have to tell us for death. It says, child of the great transformers, none is its letter. And it says, the sign of Scorpio appears at the upper right. At the upper left, the phoenix rises from smoldering ashes. Death is a skeletal figure with a long scythe, whose metal tip gouges the top of a skull. A serpent rests on the top of another skull at the lower left of the card, while a scorpion crawls through a pile of broken bones. The skeleton alone survives the destruction of time and the aggression of nature, slowly working its way upwards. Time, involuntary change, transformation, death, destruction. stagnant, immobile, slow changes. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful imagery. Beautiful imagery. So that's our death card. All right. Next up, we're going to take a look. We'll see. We got the Ace of Wands here. The Ace of Wands. Wow. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And at the bottom of each card, he has the Golden Dawn, the Golden Dawn line. It says, "Lord of the root of the power of fire, Lord of the root of the power of fire." Wow, beautiful, beautiful ink drawings there. The Ace of Wands. Okay. Next up, we have the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands, right? In the Two of Wands, we have the Lord of Dominion. Dominion. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. And I like how they give you the astrological attributions right up here, right? Powerful. Beautiful. I just wish this would focus a little better. Awesome. Awesome. Let's take a look. Next up, we got the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is virtue, the Lord of established strength, the Lord of established strength, virtue, the Three of Wands. Wow. All right, we have the Four of Wands, Lord of perfected work, Lord of perfected work, power, the foundation. Excuse me. Beautiful. The Five of Wands, Lord of strife, strife. Wow. The lions on this one. Really, really incredible imagery. Six of Wands, Lord of victory, Lord of victory. Oh, beautiful. I love the eye in the center of this one. Really intense. Seven of Wands, Lord of valor, the Lord of valor. Powerful. The snakes, the caduceus. Really powerful imagery here again. Eight of Wands, Lord of swiftness, swiftness. Hermes the messenger. Wow. The Nine of Wands, Lord of great strength. Lord of great strength. The nine at its height. The Ten of Wands, Lord of oppression. Ruin, the breaking of chains. Breaking of chains. All right. Then we have the Princess of Wands, Princess of the Shining Flame. Princess of the Shining Flame. Now we're getting into some wild imagery here. Wow. And I gotta try and get this a little bit more focused. There we go. Wow. We have next Knight of Wands, Lord of Flame and Lightning. Lord of Flame and Lightning. Beautiful. Oh, the Queen of Wands, Queen of the Thrones of Flame. The Queen of the Thrones of Flame. Look how fiery, passionate energy. Beautiful. The Water of Fire. King of Wands, Prince of the Chariot of Fire. Prince of the Chariot of Fire. King of Wands, the Fire of Fire. All right, then we're going into the aces of. Then we're going into the pentacles. Lord of the root of the powers of earth. Oh, look at that! I love the line work. It's just so trippy. Really sucking you into that cross. Powerful. Two of Pentacles, Lord of harmonious change. Lord of harmonious change. Beautiful. Three of Pentacles, Lord of material work. Lord of material work. Four of Pentacles, Lord of earthly power. The Lord of earthly power. Lord of material trouble. The Five of Pentacles, Lord of material trouble. Oh, wow. The discs are now spinning, and I love the horns. Wild. Six of discs, Six of Pentacles, Lord of material success. Look at all those beautiful flowers. Lovely. Lord of material success. All right, we got Seven of Pentacles, Lord of success unfulfilled. Lord of success unfulfilled. Beautiful. Wow. Bullseyes now. Interesting. Oh, the Eight of Pentacles, Lord of prudence. Lord of prudence. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. The Lord of prudence. All right. The Nine of Pentacles, the Lord of material gain. The Lord of material gain. Beautiful. The Ten of Pentacles, the Lord of wealth. The Lord of wealth. Wow. Princess of Pentacles, Princess of the Echoing Hills, the Earth of Earth. Princess of the Echoing Hills. Wow, I love this geometric style that he has. And his line work is just so intense. Really, really beautiful. The Knight of Pentacles, Lord of the wild and fertile land, the heir of earth. Wow. Love it. The Queen of Pentacles, Queen of the thrones of earth. Queen of the thrones of earth. The King of Pentacles, Prince of the chariots of earth. Prince of the chariot of earth. Wow. All right. The Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords. Oh, look at that. Passing through the crown of initiates. Reaching up into the heights of the ideal. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love it. All right. Two of Swords. The Lord of Peace restored. The Lord of Peace restored. Right? The beginning of wisdom. Libra at the top there. Powerful, eh? Wow. And the rose cross. And an eye. This stuff gets so esoteric, this particular deck. Beautiful. All right. Three of Swords, the Lord of Sorrow. The Lord of Sorrow. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. The Lord of Sorrow. Lord of rest from strife, the Four of Swords. The Lord of rest from strife. Truce. Beautiful. The Five of Swords, the Lord of defeat. Lord of defeat. This deck is like the opposite of the Ithel Cocoon deck, but they're both utilizing the same system. Six of Swords, Lord of earned success. What do I mean by that? The Ithel Cocoon deck removes all symbolism and focuses solely on color. This deck removes all color and focuses solely on symbolism. But yet they're operating within the same tradition. Isn't that interesting? Right? They're both of the Secret Order of the Golden Dawn, but one is pure color and one is pure symbolism. You know? Interesting. But yeah, the Six of Swords. Science. What do we got next? Seven of Swords, the Lord of unstable effort. The Lord of unstable effort. Seven of Swords. Interesting. I love the curved blades. Powerful. How do you spell the other deck? Tarot as color. I'll write that. Tarot as color. And it's Ithel Colquhoun. I never know how to spell her name, her last name, but Colquhoun, something like this. But like, for example, here's her deck compared to Dowson's deck. Same system, right? But like pure symbolism, pure color, right? They're both amazing in their own rights. Gotta love it. All right. Awesome. Okay. Seven of Swords. All right. We go now to the Eight of Swords, the Lord of Shortened Force. The Lord of Shortened Force. Interference. Wow. The Nine of Swords, Lord of Despair and Cruelty. The Lord of Despair and Cruelty. Oh yeah, go check out that unboxing, Steph. I managed to find this a really awesome book called The Magical Writings of Ithel Cocoon. And the editor who assembled that particular book, they went through and they found all of these really awesome occult writings. So we read an introductory essay she has on the tarot. We read an essay called Tarot as Color. And then she goes through, I think it's about 7 or 8 of the major arcana. And I actually read all of her research that she did. But unfortunately, most of it's been lost, but we did read what has survived. So really, really fun. You really get a sense of how deep Ithel goes. She goes so deep. It's beautiful. All right. So here we go. That was upside down, sorry. 10, the Lord of Ruin. Lord of Ruin. Wow. Beautiful. Okay. We got now the Princess of Swords. Princess of the Rushing Wind. Princess of the Rushing Wind. Oh, powerful. I love this. Such Medusa energy. Love it. Okay, let's see here. Knight of Swords, Lord of the Winds and Breezes. Lords of the Winds and Breezes. The Knight of Swords. Okay. Queen of Swords, Queen of the Thrones of Air. Queen of the Thrones of Air. Whoa, and look at that. Head in hand. Powerful stuff right there. Wild. Definite Athena energy. Let's see. King of Swords, Prince of the Chariot of the Winds. Prince of the Chariot of the Winds. Oh, interesting. What a wild looking face. Oh, interesting. Okay, Ace of Cups, the Lord of the root of the powers of water. Lord of the root of the powers of water. Okay. Prince of the Chariot of... Oh, wrong one. We want Two of Cups, the Lord of Love. The Lord of Love. Oh, beautiful. Dolphin. Interesting. Makes me think of Palamon. All right. We go next. Three of Cups, the Lord of Abundance. The Lord of Abundance. Beautiful. The Lord of Blended Pleasure. The Four of Cups. The Lord of Blended Pleasure. Luxury. Five of Cups. The Lord, what is it? Lord of Loss and Pleasure. Lord of Loss in Pleasure. Oh, wow. It almost looks like there's eyes in those cups. Oh, wow. And petals in the background. Interesting. All right. We have the Six of Cups, the Lord of Pleasure. The Lord of Pleasure. The Lord of Illusionary Success. The Seven of Cups, the Lord of Illusionary Success. Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups, Lord of Abandoned Success. Lord of Abandoned Success. Nine of Cups, the Lord of Material Happiness. Lord of Material Happiness. Yeah, I've noticed all the astrological signs. They reference that in the introductory essay as well, that this deck is really heavily about the Book of Tea astrology. You know, if you're interested in the Golden Dawn, and especially in the astrological correspondences, this is a really powerful deck for that. Really highlights that aspect. Powerful stuff. Okay. Lord of Perfected Success, the Ten of Cups. Lord of Perfected Success. Beautiful. Princess of Cups. Princess of the Palace of the Floods. Princess of the Palace of the Floods. The Knight of Cups, Lord of Waves and Waters. Knight of Cups, Lord of Waves and Waters. Queen of the Throne of Waters. The Queen of Cups, Queen of the Throne of Waters. King of Cups, Prince of the Chariot of Waters. Prince of the Chariot of Waters. All right, and now we're going to be hopping over to the major arcana. So we start with 0, the foolish man. The foolish man, the fool, right? The spirit of Aether. And let's see what they have written here for the spirit of Aether, the foolish man. Aleph, Ox, Pluto. The sun indicates a bright spring morning. The two-part triangle in the upper right of the card represents air, the symbol of Pluto. The symbol of Pluto appears in the mist to the front of the man. The foolish man stands with his worldly belongings at the edge of a precipice, ignorant of the lashing waves and the crocodile with open jaws. The foolish man holds in his right hand the rose of joy, signifying perfect innocence, and he holds a fierce wolf in check by a leash. Behind him sprouts the flower of silence. The higher significance of this card suggests that the foolish man's perfect innocence is holding the wolf. Thus, the anger of worldly wisdom is held in check by perfect innocence. Meaning, idea, thought, sensitivity, the flesh, eternal life, spirituality, initiative, folly, foolishness. Reversed, bad decision, indecision, apathy, hesitation. The foolish man. Wow. Beautiful. Next, we have the magician, the magus of power. The magician, the magus of power. Beth, house. The symbol of a winged mercurial crest appears at the top of the card. The snake-like creatures that issue from beneath the crest are similar to those found in the caduceus held by the radiating finger of Mercury to the left of the card. The magician is seen as a communicator with the gods and the storer of knowledge which he willingly dispenses, similar to Mercury, who in mythology is the winged messenger of the gods. Thus, the magician, through his actions and exhibition of will, can bring unity between the divine, intellectual, and physical worlds. By intelligence, the idea of God is conceived, and by willpower, works of good nature are accomplished. The altar at his feet contains the symbols of the four suits: swords, wands, represented as a dagger, cups, the image of a pentagram on a book. There is also a burning candle and the triangular symbol for earth. The picture of Mercury appears to radiate before him, meaning wisdom, skill, adaptation, originality, self-confidence. Reversed, insecurity, ineptitude, weak-willed. Powerful stuff. The magician. Okay. Next we have the high priestess, the priestess of the silver star, the priestess of the silver star. Gimel, camel. The moon appears above the seated priestly figure of Isis, the eternal virgin. She is adorned in the purest feminine light of the moon, the same light that serves as a veil to hide the moon, the same light that serves as a veil to hide the eternal spirit. The high priestess holds upon her knee a book, partially concealed by her mantle, which holds the truth behind the veil of feminine light. At her breast she holds a lyre, the law of Artemis, for she is also a huntress, and like Diana, she hunts by enchantment. This card rules the path of the camel that runs from Kether to Tippereth on the tree of life. This same path runs between the two gigantic pillars beside the throne upon which the high priestess is majestically seated. The high priestess controls the energy of life between the two pillars that are topped by spiraling pinnacles. At the bottom of the card are the large spheres of her throne. Some researchers view the seated figure in this card as the illustrious and controversial Pope Joan, who allegedly reigned during the middle of the 9th century, meaning change, alteration, fluctuation, wisdom, sound judgment, common sense. Reversed, ignorance, short-sightedness, lack of understanding. Pope Joan, I love that. That's so cool. How fun. Let's continue. All right. The Empress, daughter of the mighty ones, daughter of the mighty ones. Daleth Door. The sign of Venus appears above the Empress, and the sign of Libra ruled by Venus at the top of the card. The Empress is the Greek figure Aphrodite Urania. The spiraling flames at her side represent her birth from water. The 12 stars of her head represent the zodiac that surrounds her. She holds a diamond scepter. The Empress has wings and is clothed in the sun. The Empress is the center of the Emperor. She has a black eagle at her feet, which is the counterpart of the alchemical eagle in the next card. Above the eagle at the Empress's knees is the inverted crescent moon, meaning beauty, happiness, pleasure, success, action, development, luxury. Reversed, lack of interest, inaction, vacillation, lack of concentration. Powerful. All right. The Emperor, the Emperor, the son of the morning, the son of the morning. Hey, window. Beneath the Emperor's left foot is a bee. This alchemical equivalent of the ram, two wild Himalayan rams' heads, one at the upper left and the other at center right, relate to the signs of Aries, which appears at the right. The eagle and the flag combine to suggest a conqueror and the idea of authority. Supernatural powers are suggested at the top of the card by the celestial bodies that personify power and also sudden, random, and violent activity. The orb surmounted by a Greek cross at the lower left signifies that energy has reached a successful end and that government and or governmental rule has been firmly established. Meanings: war, conquest, victory, strife, worldly power, ambition, reversed, ineffectiveness, immaturity, a lack of strength. The Emperor. Okay, next up we got the Hierophant, the Magus of the Eternal Gods. The Hierophant, Magus of the Eternal Gods. Vow, nail. The seated figure wears the papal tiara. The elephant is of the nature of Taurus and symbolizes the strength of the Hierophant's foundation. The star-shaped figure at the top of the card is the monogram of Hermetic truth and also represents the seal of the macrocosm. The diagram is actually two triangles formed into a six-pointed star, the seal of Solomon and the Star of David. The pentagram to the right is the seal of the microcosm. The microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm. The microcosm is man and his will. He is a reflection of the universe, which is the macrocosm. The Hierophant holds in his hand the philosophic triple-crossed wand, which represents the particular knowledge essential to all magical work that unites the microcosm with the macrocosm. Each ring of the triple cross is also an indicator of the three ions of Isis, Osiris, and Horus. With his right hand, the Hierophant gives the sign of occult wisdom. The symbol at the foot of the card is a horned sigil of Taurus, meaning divine wisdom, manifestation, ritualism, teaching, explanation, kindness, timidity. Reversed: foolish exercise, overkindness, unorthodox, frail, vulnerable. All right, we have the Lovers, children of the voice divine, children of the voice divine. Zane, sword. Andromeda is shown chained to a rock and threatened by a dragon rising from the waters of stagnation. Perseus quickly wields a sword to protect her against the dragon. At the upper right of this card appears the sign for Gemini. It is important to study this card along with card Temperance Sagittarius. The Lover's card also pertains to Sagittarius the archer, hence the bow and arrow at the upper center. Although the Lovers and Temperance are opposites cards, they are very closely and strongly connected, right? I say this often when I read my readings, but Temperance is the consummation of the Lover's card, the fulfillment of the Lover's card. Hence why they're so intimately connected, right? Beautiful. Meaning: inspiration, motivation, love, beauty, action, impulse, harmony. Reversed: separation, frustration in love and marriage, failure to meet the test. All right, let's continue. The Chariot, the Lord of the triumph of light, the Lord of the triumph of light, the Chariot. Cheth, fence. At the top of the card appears the sign of Cancer, and between the sphinxes at the bottom appears the sign of the crab. The charioteer's garments are made of chainmail and steel, giving protection similar to that of a crab's shell. The 4 pillars reach up into the sky of Binah, and the 10 stars represent the stars of Asiya, the material world. The wheels of the chariot represent the energy of Gabura. At the center of the card is the Holy Grail. The card depicts the chariot of Hermes, drawn by 2 sphinxes, Joaquin signifying love and Boaz signifying power. Thus, the sphinxes represent power and love under control. Samuel guides Joaquin and Anael guides Boaz. The chariot is not in motion because the card represents equilibrium. The figure of a crowned Hermes, erect in his chariot, controls with magical sword and wand the powers of good and evil, thus maintaining a state of absolute equilibrium. Meanings: triumph, victory, perseverance, health, success though temporary, a possible voyage. Reversed: unsuccessful, defeat at the last minute, to lose something that was within your grasp. Wow, beautiful stuff. The Lovers. All right. Fortitude, daughter of the flaming sword. Fortitude, fortitude, strength, lust. Teth, serpent. The sign of Leo appears at the upper right above a rose of 5 petals, signifying the 5th sign of the zodiac. The female figure of fortitude represents the mastery of the lower by the higher. Her feet are planted firmly on the earth, and she controls the lion in a manner similar to the soul holding passions in check. Leo is a fire sign, and fortitude is shown holding in her right hand a cup spewing flame. Here is the joy of strength exercised, showing complete ease, self-passion. This card also depicts a lion on the shield of fortitude. Its meaning is persevering in strength and energy, meaning strength, fortitude, courage, power, self-control. Wow. All right. Reversed: weakness, pettiness, impotence, sickness. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Powerful stuff. Lady Babylon. Where do we go? All right. The Hermit. Magus of the voice of light. Magus of the voice of light. Yes, it's an S22. With a very beat up OtterBox. All right. The Hermit. Magus of the voice of light. Yod. Hand. The magical lamp appears above the solitary figure wrapped in hood and mantle. The lamp burns without wick or fuel. It is lit only by the lux of the universal fluidic agent. Even without fuel, the beams radiate in all directions. The face that burns in the golden triangle is a symbol of the fecundity of the infinite and the eternal. At the bottom of the card are the cosmic egg and a shaft of wheat, dormant for years but easy to nurture to life at the opportune time. To the back of the hermit is a large plant yielding a seed at its summit. The snake, coiled and passive around the symbols of Virgo and Mercury, Virgo ruling planet, is also ready to spring to life. Meaning: wisdom sought, knowledge, divine inspiration, counsel, inner strength. Reversed: imprudence, hastiness, rashness, prematurity. Beautiful. The Wheel of Fortune, the Lord of the forces of life. Wheel of Fortune, Lord of the forces of life. Calf, palm. The wheel of all life is presided over by the sordid Sphinx of Egypt. The letters tarot appear at the 4 directions of the wheel and also form the word rota. This is the famous rota tarot, magic square, right? And this is a really important thing for those who are going to get into the Hermetic tarot. The glyph at the center of the wheel is the seal of Ezekiel, and the symbol for Jupiter appears in the cushion at the bottom. The letter Kaf means palms of the hand, in the lines of which one's fortune may be read. Meanings: good fortune, happiness, destiny, fate. Reversed: failure, bad luck, broken sequence. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, next up we got Justice, daughter of the Lord of Truth. Justice, daughter of the Lord of Truth. Ox goad, Lamed. The sign of Libra at the top of the card is ruled by Venus, whose symbol is shown on the left side of the scales. Saturn is exalted in Libra and balances the scales on the right. The figure of Justice triumphantly holds them aloft, and a large sword resting at her feet further symbolizes her importance. The lower portion of the card depicts the dual symbols of yin and yang, or black and white. The spheres at each corner of the card also represent equilibrium. They are half dark and half light, suggesting the balance of negative and positive, meaning balance, eternal justice, strength, fairness, equity, good intentions. Reversed: bigotry, bias, false accusations, intolerance. Okay. Next we have the Hangman, spirit of the mighty waters. Spirit of the mighty waters. Mem, water. The inverted Ankh is in harmony with the inverted man. The Ankh and the rose cross symbolize the supreme formula of adeptness and the sacrifice that has to be undertaken to complete any great work. The inverted figure forms a cross upon an equilateral triangle, representing the descent of light into darkness. The serpent on the right foot suggests both creator and destroyer. The symbol for water appears at the left center, and the symbol for Neptune at the right center. Meanings: enforced sacrifice, punishment, loss, suffering, suspension. Reversed: lack of sacrifice, failure to give of oneself, false prophecy. Okay, next we got Temperance, daughter of the reconcilers. Temperance, daughter of the reconcilers. Prop or support, Samek. This card is the fulfillment of the lovers. The sign of Sagittarius, the arrow, appears both at the upper left and beneath the disc in the center. The glyph of Capricorn is represented on the left and the sign of Scorpio on the right. In the upper background, a volcano erupts and its ash forms a rainbow extending toward Earth. The angel of occult wisdom wears a crown of gold and pours water from the cup of white gluten into the cauldron. The leopard-faced cauldron is symbolic of fire. The fire burns along the water, and the water extinguishes the fire. Thus fire and water mix harmoniously, fanned by the slow circulation of air created by the slowly flapping wings of the birds. To the left and right of the vessel are the triangular symbols of water and fire, respectively. The marriage of fire and water, Shin and Kappa, is held by power of Saturn and consecrated by Mars. Thus, the glyph of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, and Scorpio, ruled by Mars. Meaning: realization, the combination of forces, temperance, moderation. Reversed: discord, disunion, conflict of interest, hostility. Yes, I can channel you a sore taste there, Manner. Yeah, 1 second. Just let me finish going through these cards here, and I will give you a sore taste. All right. We're going to go to the devil, the Lord of the gates of matter. The Lord of the gates of matter, the devil. Right? The Lord of the gates of matter. You have to lift the veil of Isis in order to connect to the highest muse. You must pass through the devil, the full moon, the great shaman. Right? Let's see here. Ein, the eye. On a pedestal sits the fierce figure of Pan with his hairy body, goat's head, bat's wings, spiked crown, and a flaming torch. His crest is the winged solar disk. The pentagram at its center is inverted, indicating dark forces. Chained to the foot of the pedestal are two demons, one male and one female, half animal and half human. At the foot of the pedestal appears the sign of Capricorn, the symbol of Saturn, ruler of Capricorn at the top left. The fire wand is the energy of Mars. Meaning, material force, material temptation, subordination, bondage, ravage. Reversed, release from bondage, respite, divorce. Wow. All right, let's continue. We now have the blasted tower, the Lord of the hosts of the mighty, the Lord of the hosts of the mighty. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Okay. Pay, mouth. A blast of lightning renders total destruction and clears the way for new forms to emerge. An outline of the tree of life appears at either side of the tower, the Sephiroth black on one side and white on the other, suggesting the wide scope this card may cover. The symbol of Mars appears at the upper left of the card, meaning ambition, fighting, war, courage, destruction, and ruin. Change, breakdown of belief. Reversed, continued oppression, following old ways, entrapment. Wow. All right, we now have the star, the daughter of the firmament. The star, the daughter of the firmament. Zadi, the fishhook. The seven-pointed star of Venus, surrounded and turned by seven more stars, each also bearing 7 points, shines above the waters of Aquarius. The smaller star appears as symbols for the sacred planets. Each Sephiroth of the Tree of Life appears in the form of a black and white quartered disc, representing day and night hours. From these, one can select the most suitable time for completion of the work. The dove of Hermes hovers effortlessly above the tree of knowledge, giving promise of ultimate attainment. In front of the dove is the mathematical conception of the shape of the universe. The woman pours ethereal water from the golden cup and the immortal liquid of life from the silver cup, meaning hope, dreams, faith, unexpected help, promising opportunity. Reversed, unfulfilled hopes, disappointment, pessimism, bad luck. Beautiful. All right. The moon, ruler of flux and reflux. The ruler of flux and reflux. Cough, back of the head. The sign of Pisces at the upper portion of the card is shown by the new full moon, emanating from the moon at 16 principal and 16 secondary rays, totaling 32, the number of paths of the Sefer Yetzirah. 4 golden yods fall like drops of water from the moon, showing its power over the flux of the world. The 2 towers represent the gateway of resurrection. The towers are guarded by dogs, the jackals of the Egyptian psychopomp Anubis, witness to the disruption and anxiety. The dark waters of night appear below, cast in turmoil by the compelling influence of the moon, suggesting the dark paths of toil and effort. At the center of the card, the winged scarab follows the path of all heavenly bodies, rising in the east and setting in the west. He carries the solar disk in front and behind, meaning deception, error, falsity, dissatisfaction, change. Reversed, trifling mistakes, minor deception recognized. Beautiful. All right. Next up, we have the sun, Lord of the fire of the world. Lord of the fire of the world. Resh, head. Beneath the fiery sun, 2 children dance wildly, and roses appear between them and behind each of them. The roses represent the flowering of the solar influence. The dancing sirens are young, shameless, and innocent. The sun and its heat our beneficent source of life, and a melter of the waxen wings of ambition and curiosity. The sun radiates upon the children. It is Heru Raha, Lord of the new Ion, meaning glory, gain, riches, satisfaction, arrogance. Reversed, unhappiness, possibility, broken engagement, loneliness. The sun. All right. The last judgment, the spirit of the primal fire. Shin, tooth. This card refers to the elemental path of fire. A bearded angel sounds the shofar, his horn of judgment, and three figures emerge from their tombs. A fully resurrected soul flies upward. The symbol of the symbol of Uranus appears at the upper left, meaning final decision, judgment, sentence, determination, atonement, rejuvenation. Reversed, failure to face the facts, delay, disappointment. And our final card, the great one of the night of time, the great one of the night of time, the universe. Tau, Egyptian cross. This card is attributed to Saturn, whose sign appears on the double-headed eagle and is represented by the two sickles. The background of the card, sun, moon, and stars, represent the ever-expanding, ever-changing universe. In the middle of the card at the left, the sign of Taurus represents the bull. The sign of Leo, the lion, appears to the right. The man at the bottom suggests Aquarius. The eagle of Scorpio above completes the four cherubic signs. Meaning, synthesis, world, kingdom, perfection, recognition. Reversed, failure to complete a task, imperfection. Wow. Powerful, powerful stuff. All right, everyone. So now we have taken the time and we have gone through and looked at all of the beautiful cards as well as read the meanings from the book for all of the major arcana. How fun, how fun, how fun. So now what we will do is I'm going to give us a good, proper reading from this wonderful, wonderful deck. And I would also love to ask if anyone would like a couple cards pulled from the Hermetic Tarot by Godfrey Dowson to please send me a super chat or a super thanks. I'm just going to give these cards a quick shuffle, and then we'll do our donation here, our sortes for my dear friend Banner, and then we'll do our public reading. All right. Well, we got another donation actually. Oh, just from, okay, sorte. Yes. One, let's see here. So we're just going to give these cards a quick shuffle to make sure that everything is going to be great. This is something that I like to do every time I get a new deck, is to go through, touch all of the cards, and invoke Apollo and the Muses, the goddesses of inspiration, and ask them to shine their lights and to cleanse the cards, to empower my energy onto each of them, and to really engage them with that powerful energy of the Muses. All right. So I like to just to be thorough with this, just to give it a cleanse. It makes it all just work so much better. Okay. All right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So before we hop over to our big reading here, we're going to do a sortes for my dear friend Banner. Thanks again, Banner, for the support. Much love to you, my dear friend. And let's see, what do we feel like for Banner? Oh, we got to go to some wildness. We're going to go to Antonin, a sinister assassin, Antonin Artaud. So let's see here. Muses, what is the message from Banner? Inspire. The question that counts is that of the eye in movement to you. The question that counts is the eye in movement to you. Wow, that's a really profound line. That immediately connects me to the path of the lovers, recognizing oneself in the other, right? Seeing oneself reflected in nature, in the highest muse, the holy guardian angel, and engaging in the path of empowered refinement, recognizing that the two is one, right? Beautiful, beautiful energy. Beautiful. All right. Thank you for the support there, Banner. Oh, thanks, Kat, for the donation. And I will pull you a couple cards in a second here. All right. We're just going to finish up our shuffle. All right. Yeah, the one and the many are true, right? The one and the many are true. We have that profound power of memory. We can go back to the past, and it is still intrinsic in our DNA. But ultimately, the many is also true, and our individuality is also a reality and an empowered truth, right? Powerful, powerful stuff. I'm just going to fix this camera up here. All right. And let us get ready to pull a couple cards. I just want to get this all straightened out. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Let's see here. Apollo and the Muses, shine your light upon Cat. What is the empowered message from the Hermetic Tarot by Godfrey Dowson? Okay. Let's take a look. Inspire. Okay. I guess we can come a little closer here. All right. Inspire. What's the message? And our center card is we have the Queen of Cups, the Queen of the Throne of Waters, the Queen of Cups, the water of waters, right? The Queen of Cups is such powerful energy, right? The Queen of Cups ultimately is the feminine in her most loving, her most nurturing, her most flowing. And when we see her in the center here, this tells me that this is where the energy is focused. Oftentimes, when it's a person, this either signifies you or someone that your mind is fixated upon. So let's see where this energy is going. The Lord of perfected work, the Four of Wands. Wow, this is a self-realization and a self-empowerment. To become the Queen of Wands, that loving, nurturing energy, the one who can truly exist and flow and can give freely, you have to come to this empowered energy of the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is completion, the beginning of listening and recognizing the self in the mirror, the profound energy of acceptance. But more than that is you see where you wish to go, who you wish to be, and how you could potentially get there. It's the beginning of an empowered connection, the birth of an image of the true self, right? And look where it leads you, to that beautiful, loving mother energy. Where do we go from here? Wow, yeah. This is a breaking free of fear as well, right? You know, there's a fear connected to this image. And what I'm getting a sense of here is that there's a need to fully accept the self, to fully accept where the energy takes you, and to learn to love this imagery. And to recognize that what's been preventing you from embodying this is simply overthinking and fear. Simply overthinking and fear. The Ten of Swords signifies ruin, ruin. But it's ultimately a breaking free of fear. It's a stepping outside of the cycle and the gaining of a new empowered perspective, a perspective that allows us to approach this energy with reason, to understand that our overthinking has disconnected us from reality and that we are no longer seeing things in a true way. We are manifesting our fear and our discomfort rather than truly engaging. But the 10 is also beautiful. It allows you to go back to the root of the element of air and to begin that process of understanding again, this time with reason, reason born of experience, for you have completed the cycle. And what this is telling me is that this energy has been hard for you to engage, right? There's a lot of anxiety and fear about it. But ultimately, this is who you are. And there's a profound sense of acceptance coming. There's just a need to let go of this frustrated energy, right? The Queen of Cups is beautiful. She's powerful, right? There's nothing wrong with this energy. This energy is mature. This energy is capable. The only thing is she often remains hidden below the waters. She often keeps silent, right? She often, because she is in such loving, nurturing energy, she often allows her will to be taken by others, right? Not always, but sometimes. If the people in her life are not showing up correct, then certainly so, right? She's just such a loving, caring energy that it's hard for her. But ultimately, this is about embracing yourself, learning to be that beautiful, loving mother, and learning to accept that. So much of the force is accepting that, so much about knowing the self is accepting the self. Yeah, I am this watery, emotional woman, and that's okay, and that's beautiful. There's so much power. This energy is beyond needed and loved and important, right? There's nothing wrong with this energy. And when you can come to accept it, you break free of fear and you can move to greater heights. The loving mother is beautiful. We all wish we could have that energy in our life. Quite truthfully, you know? So break free of overthinking, seek greater perspective and communication, and love yourself, accept yourself, right? It doesn't mean you have to stay in this energy forever, but it's important to accept where you are at the moment. This is not a bad place to be. This is a beautiful place to be, right? Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much for the donation. I hope that resonated with you, Kat. Beautiful. All right. And let's continue. All right. We got another donation here. Thank you, Steph. Much love to you, my friend. Really appreciate the support. And we will pull you a couple cards here from the Hermetic Tarot by Godfrey Dowson. All right. So let's invoke Apollo and the Muses and ask them to shine their light upon Steph, to guide them throughout their day and to help them to realize the beauty of their dreams. So Apollo and the Muses, what is the empowering and inspiring message for Steph? Okay, we'll take a look. Give our cards a quick cut. Muses inspire. Okay, the Lord of Perfected Work, the Four of Wands. We just saw this energy in the previous read, and it's showing up here for you. The Four of Wands, right, is all about learning to listen to the signs and to accept yourself. This is the beginning of conversation with the highest muse. It's the beginning of really seeing who you wish to be. The fours are interesting. You haven't yet realized this energy in the earth. You have yet to become your best, beautiful self. But you now know where you are called and what you wish. And that can be such a powerful energy. That can be such a beautiful energy that oftentimes people are comfortable with just the idea of who they could be. And just the fact that they'll do it eventually, that they stay put. They stay in that comfort. So the only thing with this energy is you got to bring it into reality, really empower yourself, right? Let's see, where are we going? The Empress, the daughter of the mighty ones. Wow, the daughter of the mighty ones. The Empress is that great mother energy, right? This is Aphrodite Pandemos, the lover of all, the creator of all, the feminine in infinite diversity, the most creative, the most nurturing card upon the deck, right? In the deck. When you see that energy, you're called to be in that creative power, to be an artist, to be a mother, to really nurture the people around you and to be in that generative, creative energy, to be thinking about the future and to be working to grow things, right? That's what the Empress is all about. The pursuit of growth, new love, new art, new creation, right? And that's the energy that you're called to. This is what you're resonating with, right? You're seeing that this is where you wish to go, right? And that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. The Magician, yeah, the Magician. We're seeing this on full display. This is who you wish to be, right? This is the energy that is in your mind's eye that you're holding as that ideal. and you're showing up as the Magus. The Magus is wonderful. This is the energy that gets you there, right? Who is the Magus? The Magus is Hermes. But this is Hermes who has bested the devil. Hermes who has conquered his animal and come into this empowered balance, right? The energy of the Magus means that you have created that idea of where you wish to go. You hold this true empowered image of what you want, and now you call it into being, right? The Magus is profound because they're still connected to the energy of Dionysus the Fool. They still have that audacity, the imagination, the childlike wonder. They can still put on the costume and believe, right? And this is the energy that's needed to project your will to be empowered in magic. But at the same time, you need that fiery focus, that intention of Apollo that can take you to the end of the cycle, can see this energy realized. So when we see the Magus, we are called to tell our story, to be empowered in ritual action, to really engage our will. If you want to become that empress, you have to believe it. You have to don the costume and call yourself an empress. You know, the Magus is interesting, right? The Magus is the one who puts on a crown and then the spirits think he's a king. Now, it depends on who's looking at him. Sometimes he appears as an ass, and sometimes he appears as that empowered Magus. Really wild energy, though. And ultimately, it's about the stories we tell. It's about the beliefs that we hold, And the Magus is calling you to become that empowered empress. Believe in yourself and do it. Be that creative, powerful woman. Manifest diversity and growth. That's it. It sounds impossible, but also it's as easy as just doing it and believing it. That's the power of the Magus. He just puts on the costume and walks out the door and is it, right? Forget the energy of like, a lot of people are bound down by this idea that they don't believe that they're good enough, They don't believe that they're strong enough. The Magus does not have that problem at all. They always believe in themselves, right? Okay. Powerful stuff. All right. Thank you so much, Steph. Really appreciate you and all the support. Much love, my dear friend. And I hope that resonated. Okay. Oh. And we're going to continue now. We're going to do one big final Saturn Square reading, and then we're going to end our exploration here. But once again, if anyone would like me to pull them a couple cards, please send me a super chat, a super thanks, or sign up for YouTube membership. All right. Okay. And let us now invoke Apollo and the Muses and ask them to shine their light upon us, to guide us throughout our day, and to help us to realize the beauty of our dreams. So Apollo and the Muses, what is the empowering and inspiring message from Godfrey Dowson and the Hermetic Tarot? Okay. We'll give our cards a quick shuffle and a cut. Let's see. Inspire. Okay. And our first card is the Empress. The Empress wants to come out today. Beautiful. Wow. And the Empress, right? She is the divine feminine, the energy that calls us into generation, into creation, into cooperation, the most empowered actor in the entire deck, the one in control of nature, the embodiment of nature, the one who gives birth to the infinite diversity, the one who is empowered in her will, right? Really profound energy here, the Empress. Okay, let's see here. The sun, the Lord of the fire of the world. Look at that. When we can connect to that divine feminine, be empowered in that harmonious, generative, creative energy, then we can bring about the sun. This is really, really beautiful because who is the sun? The sun is the child of Demeter. It is Plutus. Plutus born upon the earth, right? This is the birth of a new dawn, new life and generation. Dreams made real and tangible. Most beautiful card, Heru Raha, right? Most positive card in the whole deck. And it is that Empress that gives birth to the sun. She gives birth to the new dawn, the new child to come, right? Wow. The blasted tower, the lord of the hosts of the mighty. The tower is so intense, it's the power of Aries. The power of Aries that comes and upsets our foundation, that pulls the rug out from under us and knocks down which is not stable. Anything that doesn't sustain us, that isn't empowered, falls, falls. And this energy is profound because it allows new life and new growth to take root, right? Without the collapse, there can be no new birth, new creation. It is out of the destruction that the beauty can come. We have to tear down which no longer serves. Even though this energy is negative and intense, it ultimately leads to such profound beauty, right? Profound beauty. This is the cycle of love, life and death, destruction and creation, right? The magic of the Empress in both of extremes on full display. Wow. Powerful stuff right here. Let's see. The Five of Pentacles, the Lord of material trouble. The Five of Pentacles, right? This is worry. This is the energy of striving to build in the earth. The fives call us. The fives call us to move beyond the four elements, to move beyond the foundational energies of the four, and to really strive to empower ourselves. This is the energy that takes us to the six, success, that brings us into security, into abundance. But to get there, we really have to struggle. We have to do the work that is necessary. And the fives is always intense, right? There is the potential to failure. There is the potential for struggle. But if you do not pass through the fives, if you do not dig and do the work in the earth, you cannot come to the balanced energy of the six. All right, let's continue. Right, and what I'm seeing here is that the pursuit of that empowered success in the earth, of transforming the earth, that leads us to engage that great mother energy and brings about the birth of a new dawn, the magic of Plutus. Wow. And look at that. More empowered feminine energy, right? The hangman, the 12 taking us to the 3. And the hangman is what? Surrender. Surrender so that you can gain a new perspective, right? Really being able to face your fears, to trust your intuition, and to be willing to change and adapt and overcome. This is the energy that calls us to look and to be honest, to face what is uncomfortable, right? And then to do something about it. Not only do we climb the tree and gaze into the abyss, but then we make the sacrifice. We change directions. We climb down from the tree and make a new, empowered, active choice, right? Based upon that empowered intuition, with that energy that calls us into harmony, that calls us into flow, right? Really, really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Two empowered feminine energies, both requiring us to be in that creative energy, but also in that surrender, that pursuit of harmony. And this is the energy that will lead us to the birth of a new dawn. Let's continue. The Five of Swords, the Lord of Defeat. The Lord of Defeat. Wow, we got two fives. Two fives here. Such intense energy, but it's leading us to that new dawn. And the Five of Swords defeat, like the Five of Pentacles, is the energy that calls us to pursue true wisdom and understanding. It calls us to move beyond the four. And in the swords, the four is truce, the beginning of cooperation and communal understanding. This is the true striving after science and reason, the true struggle to come to empowered wisdom, right? And this is a really intense energy. It requires you to do the hard work, requires you to face reality, face the collapse, face all this intensity. But ultimately, just like this energy, it leads us to empowered wisdom. If you do not pass through the five, you do not come to the six. And the Six of Swords is science. Science. True empowered wisdom cultivated in the earth, cultivated in community and consensus across history, right? Really powerful, powerful energy. But to get to that, we're going to have to pass through the tower, face and understand the tower, right? We're going to have to struggle in the earth. We're going to have to face ourselves and surrender. Be willing to make the sacrifices that are needed to break out of these limiting energies and to come into balance. See where we go. The Six of Swords, the Lord of earned success, and it's crowning our reading. Look at that. Crowning our reading is wisdom. Wow. When we really can pursue that great mother energy, right? That empress energy. And when we engage in that passionate pursuit of transforming the earth, of pursuing wisdom, and we are willing to face ourselves and our fears, we can come to empowered success, right? We can come to empowered science. And science and wisdom is crowning this whole reading, informing everything. It is the science that will allow us to understand and face the collapse. It's the science that will give us and bring us the new dawn. Really, really beautiful. Out of the sacrifice is born wisdom. Out of the struggle is born wisdom. Where do we go? The Three of Pentacles. Work. Again, we have an empowered divine feminine energy. 1, 2, 3. 3 threes. And the Three of Discs, the Three of Pentacles, is all about cooperation and empowerment within the earth. Working together to transform the earth. Working to harmonize and overcome the power of change. The Two of Discs, right? Really, really profound. And again, it's that embodying the feminine, the creative feminine energy. You have to embody the feminine to surrender. You have to embody the feminine to come into harmony, right? Really, really powerful stuff here. Where do we go? And the Hierophant. The Hierophant. That's so beautiful. The Hierophant, the Magus of the eternal gods, right? What is the Hierophant? Venus in Taurus and the Five. They're the one who takes that energy of the great mother. They go up to the heights of the air, to the profound energy of Venus. They draw down that wisdom and they plant the seed in the earth and cultivate it with the magic of Taurus, right? They build community. They create true wisdom that is manifested in the earth, but it comes from that great mother. It is a result of that divine feminine connection, reaching up to the heights of the air and becoming the conduit for that force of Venus, of Aphrodite, right? Aphrodite is Aphrodite Urania in the absolute height of the air. Really, really powerful energy here. Really powerful energy. This is beautiful, right? It's all about, this whole reading is about connecting to this divine feminine. When we can really connect to that energy, imitate it, empower ourselves with it, connect to it in the heights of the air, we can truly transform our reality, right? We can overcome the collapse and manifest the new dawn. All we need to do is be in that energy of surrender, of work, right? Of being willing to do what we can to overcome, to struggle, to understand, and to create in the earth. And this will lead us to such profound beauty and transformation. Wow. What a really positive reading, guys. Connect to that great mother energy. Connect to that powerful goddess. And use that feminine harmony, that feminine energy of surrender, of coming into flow and connection to bring about the new dawn, to bring to life that new energy of Plutus, to empower us as that conduit of wisdom and understanding, to truly build and teach and work with the next generation. Wonderful, wonderful reading. How fun. How fun. I hope that resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. All right, so this has been our deep dive into the beautiful, the wonderful Hermetic Tarot by Godfrey Dowson. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Really, really, really fun. And I'll be using this in tarot readings going forward. So how fun. All right. So once again, guys, if anyone is interested in picking up this deck, you can go check this out from US Game Systems. And it's a really fun classic deck. Really cool if you're into the Golden Dawn. Lots of really important symbolism and really great black and white drawings. Really a fun magical deck. I have a penchant for the more esoteric decks. And I really love comparing and contrasting, this deck to Ethel Cocoon's deck, because it's just so fun. I'm going to try to find two cards that we can compare here. Let me see. What do we got? Let's try to find a couple cards that are the same here. Let me see. What do we got here? Death, Moon, Lord of Defeat, Five of Swords, Hangman, Sun, Hierophant. Okay. Oh, there we go. Six of Swords. Okay. Six of Swords and the Six of Swords. Okay, we'll bring back up this camera here. And you can see this because I just think this is really interesting. Both of these are Golden Dawn inspired decks. Both of these are based off of the Book of T. Both come from empowered magicians, but radically different approaches to the same system. One is pure symbolism, no color. The other is pure color, no symbolism. Where they stand united is in the astrology and in the titles, the titles by the Golden Dawn. So both of them have the Lord of Earned Success, right? But yeah, really interesting, really fun, really fun. All right, well, thank you guys for checking this out with me. I really love this deck. It's super cool, and I'm going to be digging into some more Golden Dawn related decks. I also have the Golden Dawn Tarot that I had mentioned by Wang, and that was the first Golden Dawn deck that actually used all of the correspondences openly. So it gets really interesting with the Golden Dawn because technically the classical deck by A.E. Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith, the writer Waite Smith, is based on the Book of T, but A.E. Waite upheld his personal conviction to keep a lot of the Book of T secret. So even in his tarot, his pictographic book of the tarot, he doesn't reveal a lot of the deep astrological stuff. He doesn't talk about the more empowered symbolism, right? So it will be fun to dig into another deck that really tries to do the Golden Dawn stuff from the 70s. It seems like the 70s were really an empowered time for Golden Dawn revival. So that'll be interesting, and I'm hoping to do that later on this week. So look out for that. But thank you guys for checking this out. This was so much fun. Really appreciate you all. And I will be back later on this evening for our evening adoration to the Muses. Also, this week, I'll be digging into the Tarot Unveiled, which looks really cool. The Tarot Unveiled is done by this really interesting comic book artist, Longren. Anyway, I'm not too sure, but I'm excited to check out that one as well. We have a bunch more tarot decks to go through, so we're going to be having lots of fun. So stay tuned for more deep dives. And thank you guys all for joining me. Peace and love. And please support this deck. Go check it out, US Game Systems. And I'll see you guys later on this evening. All right. Peace and love. Take care. And thank you.